The message this afternoon I have prepared is called Let Your Light Shine. In Matthew chapter 28, verses 18 through 20. And Yeshua came up and spoke to them, saying, All authority in heaven and earth has been given to me. Therefore, go make taught ones of all nations, immersing them in the name of the Father and the Son and of the set-apart Spirit, teaching them to guard all that I have commanded you. And surely I will always be with you until the very end of the age. The Great Commission, a command given by Yeshua Messiah to go make other taught ones. In my life, that means wherever I go and whatever I do, I'm to talk about how Yeshua has blessed my life to all who are willing to listen. To talk about how I've been taught to put Him first. How that no matter whether I have a good or bad day, which does happen, there's a delicate balance between the two, that I will know always that He is by my side. Habakkuk chapter 3 verses 17 through 18. Though the fig tree does not blossom and there's no fruit on the vine, the yield of the olive has failed, and the fields have brought forth no food. The flock has been cut off from the fold, and there's no herd in the stalls. Yet I exalt Yahweh, I rejoice in the Elohim of my deliverance. And hallelujah for that. I know for myself, I have definitely had nobody else to turn to but Him, and people that He's put in my life that have been a real blessing and encouragement to help me focus on Him. It's a team effort. No one person can do it alone.
What was that scripture you just read?
Habakkuk, chapter 3, verses 17 and 18. He has put His set-apart Spirit in me and caused me to walk in His ways. This command has been given to us ultimately to give us a reason to live. Ecclesiastes 12, 13 and 14. Let us hear the conclusion of the entire matter. Fear Elohim and guard His commands, for this applies to all mankind. For Elohim shall bring every work into right ruling, including all that is hidden, whether good or evil. Once we lived for ourselves and we thought we had all the answers with perilous results. I know for a fact in my own life, everyone here in the congregation and those listening to the broadcast didn't arrive here by chance. We were missing something in our souls. And we thought we had found it in what the world had to offer. It didn't work. We knew something was wrong, that we were empty in our beings. What was it that caused you to believe in Yahweh? When did you realize that Yahweh, through His Son Yeshua Messiah, could turn you around and fulfill your life as a whole? Once a notorious gangster, drug dealer, and pimp, John Turnipseed knows what it's like to be trapped in sin. Now a licensed minister, Turnipseed wants to help those struggling to make a change and to know that God hears their prayers. I always try to tell people to look for the evidence of God because it's always there, and sometimes we just ignore it. We look past it because it doesn't look inviting to us, he said. In his autobiography, Bloodline, Turnipseed tells how his troubled childhood led him to a life of crime, and how surrendering his life to Messiah led him to become a helping hand for others living hard lives. Let me find my place here, folks. Give me just a second. Christianity seems to have the upper hand when it comes to helping the homeless. There's a Salvation Army with biblically based homeless shelters. I found a mission online in Branson, Missouri called Jesus Was Homeless. Luke chapter 9, verses 57 and 58. And it came to be that as they journeyed along the way, that someone said to him, Master, I shall follow you wherever you go. Yeshua replied, Foxes have holes, and birds of the air have nests, but the Son of Adam has no place to lay his head. These are government-sponsored 501c3 organizations. They help the downtrodden with basic life skills while providing a biblically based environment based on the God of their understanding. Here's a question I've asked myself. If I live by Torah, and Torah is the truth, which these days I believe it is, why don't I find Torah keepers doing the same outreach? Well, I have found one. Four Corners Ministries is a Torah-based center located in El Paso, Texas, and is quickly becoming nationwide. They provide the same services as the Christian-based programs do, with one major exception. They teach Torah, the whole truth. I know for myself, after searching and studying the Bible for many years, that keeping Torah had made more sense to me than anything. The Bible itself is the authority. Nothing added to it, nothing taken away from it, only the book itself. However, I have found that visiting other congregations around different areas that people have these debates on, for example, how to say the name of our Father. I personally call him Yahweh, which is based on Exodus chapter 3, verses 13 through 15, which I believe is called, he called himself I am. When Moses observed the burning bush, that was what he was told by the Father when he went out on his journey. He said, tell them that I am, who I am, sent you. The fact that I call him Yahweh would be debated among some to the point of being rebuked by some, which I've experienced. My question then becomes, don't y'all have anything better to do? I'm not by any means minimizing the importance of using his proper name rather than calling him God, which I don't like to do. But there's a world of people out there dying for a relationship with him and need all of us who claim to belong to him to minister to those who need it. Do you believe that? Are you convinced and convicted by it? Will you allow Scripture to convict you by this? Deuteronomy 15:11, because the poor one does not cease from the land, therefore I am commanding you, saying, you shall certainly open your hand to your brother, to your poor, and to the needy one in your land. Deuteronomy 24:14, do not oppress a hired servant who is poor and needy, of your brothers or of the stranger who is in the land within your gates. Proverbs chapter 22, verses 22 and 23, do not rob the poor because he is poor, and oppress the afflicted at the gate. For Yahweh pleads their cause, and shall plunder those who plunder them. Proverbs 31:9, open your mouth and judge righteously, and plead the cause for the poor and needy. Ezekiel 16:49, see, this was the crookedness of your sister Sodom. She and her daughters had pride, sufficiency of bread, and unconcerned ease. She did not help the poor and needy. James 1:27, clean and undefiled religion before Elohim and Father is this, to visit the orphans and widows in their affliction, and to keep oneself unstained from the world. Luke 4:18 and 19, the Spirit of Yahweh is on me because he has anointed me to bring the good news to the poor. He has sent me to heal the brokenhearted, to proclaim the release to the captives and recovery of sight to the blind, to send away crushed ones with a release, to proclaim the acceptable year of Yahweh. Do you believe that Yeshua commissioned each one of us as individuals to spread the very reason that you and I are alive with hope in our lives? Now that's what I've always gotten when I read the Great Commission, that each person now takes the good news to the next person, who takes it to the next person. And it becomes a juggernaut of sorts to reach out to help people to get to know Him in the same way I did. Read with me, if you would please, 1 Corinthians chapter 12. And concerning spiritual gifts, brothers, I do not wish you to be ignorant. You know that you were Gentiles, led away to the dumb idols, even as you might be led. Therefore I make known to you that no one speaking by the Spirit of Elohim says Yeshua is a curse, and no one is able to say that Yeshua is Master except by the set-apart Spirit. And there are different kinds of gifts, but the same spirits. And there are different kinds of services, but the same Master. And there are different kinds of workings, but it is all the same Elohim, who is working all in all. And to each one is given the manifestation of the Spirit for profiting. For to one is given word of wisdom through the Spirit, to another a word of knowledge, according to the same Spirit, to another belief by the same Spirit, and to another gifts of healing by the same Spirit, and to another operation of powers, and to another prophecy, to another discerning of spirits, and to another kinds of tongues, and to another interpretation of tongues, which I believe is languages, being bilingual and so forth. But one and the same Spirit works all these, distributing to each one individually as He intends. For as the body is one and has many members, but all members of that one body, being many, are one body, so also is the Messiah. For indeed by one Spirit we were all immersed into one body, whether Yehudim or Greeks, whether slaves or free, we were all made to drink into one Spirit. For indeed the body is not one member, but many. For me, I have a gift of recovering from very bad events. I've been blessed with a life that was cursed. And through many, many toils, and many people who were good people, I was lifted up to be who I am today, which is far better off. What gifts do you all have as individuals? Who could you talk to that you know needs help or needs somebody to talk to or is suffering? What kind of a gift do you have to share? To me, that's part of salvation. That's part of giving back. For me, what I've taken, and to be able to give back in His Spirit and to reflect His name, because it's because of Him and His Word that I can do this. And I'm very grateful. And each one of us have this ability. We've been given these gifts of some kind. Maybe some not as bad as others, but something has led us here. Something has made all of us want to believe in the Father, because all of us were missing something for so long. And only the individual knows what that is. So whatever gifts you have, and wherever you go, if you know somebody that is in need, help them and talk to them. Tell them how the Father helps you through this. Because if He can help me, He can help anybody. And And that's my almost my sermon for the day, but not quite. I'll get there directly. Second Timothy 4:2, proclaim the word, be urgent in season and out of season. Reprove, warn, and appeal with all patience and teaching. For me, I talk to people, and a lot of folks have heard all about it before from all different sources. And what I try to do is I leave people with making up their own mind. Look, I know for sure that there is a Creator who is alive, who can lift us up if we give Him a chance. But ultimately, this is something that you've got to learn for yourself. I can help you with this, but it's going to be up to you or whoever you are to make this happen for yourself. I know for a fact. And that's how I try to leave people when I'm sharing my faith and telling them what I used to be and what I am now. And that's has had good results. So pray for more, and let His will be done. Matthew 5:14 through 16. You are the light of the world. It is impossible for a city to be hidden on a mountain. Nor do they light a lamp and put it under a basket, but on a lampstand, and it shines to all those in the house. Let your light shine so before men that they see your good works and praise your Father who is in the heavens. When I'm at work, I let all this stuff go on around me. It's pretty crazy there. And I basically keep my mouth shut because I don't want to be somebody that says that I'm going to do something. I let what I do speak for itself. And even then, sometimes that's not good enough, but I know between me and my Father that it's good enough for me because He's the one that I need to measure up to and not people around me. And each day I learn that more. May His name be praised majorly. Matthew 5:10 through 12. Blessed are those who are persecuted for righteousness' sake, because theirs is the reign of the heavens. Blessed are you when they reproach you and persecute you, and falsely say every wicked word against you for my sake. Rejoice and be glad, because your reward in the heavens is great. For this is the way they persecuted the prophets who were before you. Proverbs 25:17. Make your foot rare in your neighbor's house, lest he gets enough of you and hates you. Boy, they said a mouthful. We'll let the Father do the talking on that one. There will be those who will reject you. It's going to happen. People think they got to figure it out. Hey, man, you know what? You got to figure it out. But I'll be here to help you. That's one thing that I like about going to Celebrate Recovery is even though I don't believe the Bible the same way, I'm getting good responses from people who are looking for some spiritual help. And the first place I tell them is, look, man, let this Bible be your words. Let it be your mouthpiece. Let it be how you feel. Let it be how you think. Take every thought captive. If you feel that you're going to be angry, stop and think and remember Him, that He wants us to do things in peace, that He is the Prince of Peace, and so forth and so on. So I'm very blessed to be a part of this ministry. It's become very important to me. And there's been some good things happening there. Wolves in sheep's clothing, who will lie to you to get their way, only to show their true colors later. Go with me, please, to 1 Corinthians chapter 3. We'll start reading in verse 9. For we are all fellow workers of Elohim. You are the field of Elohim, the building of Elohim, according to the favor of Elohim, which was given to me, a wise master builder. I have laid the foundation, and another builds on it. But each one should look at how he builds. For no one is able to lay any other foundation except that which is laid, which is Yeshua Messiah. And if anyone builds on this foundation with gold, silver, precious stones, wood, hay, or straw, each one's works shall be revealed. For the day shall show it up, because it is revealed by fire. And fire shall prove the work of each one, what sort it is. If anyone's work remains, which he has built on, he shall receive a reward. If anyone's work is burned, he shall suffer loss, but he himself shall be saved, but so as through the fire. Anybody ever got out of something by the skin of their teeth? I have been this person, and I have met others that were like me. So I thank the Father that He's changed me, that He's helped me, and that He's put so many good people in my life. But I've experienced some really messed up situations like that by people saying anything to get their way. It happens. So be on your guard, man. If you're reaching out to somebody and talking to somebody, take everything with a grain of salt, because you really don't know a person. Nobody really knows anybody. In the dark, when we're alone, that's where we are, who we are. There will be people who will bluntly tell you to take a long walk off a short pier, to put it nicely. Then there will be that one that will be open to it. There are people out there. You may go through. There were times back in my younger days when I belonged to a different church where I would evangelize to up to 50 to 60 people a day. There was one day that I went out and shared with over 160. Just because that was the mission, was to evangelize and share the Word of God as I understood Him. And at the time, towards the end of the day, when I was tired and I was ready to go home, I reached out to one more person, and lo and behold, this was the person who said, "Yeah, I will come and visit." And I went, "Yeah, how about that?" They're out there. Love them. Love them with all you got. Love them with the love of the Father, just like He loved us. Let's go to Matthew chapter 13, please. And on that day, Yeshua went out of the house and sat by the sea, and large crowds were gathered together with him, so that he went into a boat and sat down, and all the crowd stood on a beach. And he spoke to them in much parables, saying, "See, the sower went out to sow. And as he sowed, some indeed fell by the wayside, and the birds came and devoured them. And others fell on rocky places where they did not have much soil, and immediately they sprang up, because they had no depth of soil." And others fell on rocky places where they did not have much soil, and immediately sprang up, but because they had no depth of soil. But when the sun came out, they were scorched, because they had no root, and they withered. Others fell among the thorns, and the thorns came up and choked them out. And others fell on good soil, and yielded a crop, some 100-fold, some 60, and some 30. He who has ears to hear, let him hear. And the taught ones came and said to him, "Why do you speak to them in parables?" And he answering said to them, "Because it has been given to you to know the secrets of the reign of the heavens, but it has not been given to them. For whoever possesses To him more shall be given, and he shall have overflowingly. But whoever does not possess, even what he possesses shall be taken away from him. Because of this I speak to them in parables, because seeing they do not see, and hearing they do not hear, nor do they understand. And in them the prophecy of Yeshayahu is completely filled, which says, Hearing you shall hear, and by no means understand. Seeing you shall see, and by no means perceive. For the heart of this people has become thickened, and their ears are hard of hearing, and their eyes are closed, lest they should see with their eyes and hear with their ears, lest they should understand with their heart and turn back, and I will heal them. And blessed are your eyes, because they see, and your ears, because they hear. For truly I say to you, that many prophets and righteous ones longed to see what you see, and did not see, and to hear what you hear, and did not hear. You then hear the parable of the sower. When anyone hears the word of the rain and does not understand it, the wicked one comes and snatches away what is sown in his heart. This is that sown by the wayside, and that sown on the rocky places. This is one who hears the word and immediately receives it with joy. Yet he has no root in himself, but is short-lived, and when pressure or persecution arises because of the word, immediately he stumbles. And that sown among the thorns is he who hears the word, and the worry of this age and the deceit of riches choke the word, and it becomes fruitless. And that it is sown on a good soil is he who hears the word and understands it, who indeed bears fruit and yields, some 100-fold, some 60, and some 30. And I read this as an encouragement. It's something to think about when you're talking to other people. I take and use these as examples, and when I listen to people, I get an idea. This reading helps me to know more of who would be more open to listening to the word of the Father than others. So it gives me a little discernment, and it helps me to not be too discouraged. And at times not discouraged at all, because I know that I do the best I can in Him. And again, I take that wherever I go, even if I just ain't with it. I know that He is, and that He's with me, and that helps me to be able to talk to others and encourage others. Let the people know that Yeshua truly lives in each one of us, and that He has blessed us beyond our wildest imaginations. I talked to a little boy last night at Celebrate Recovery, and he was like, my grandmother, I get a little splinter in my arm, and she just goes all crazy, oh. And I'm like, you know what, young man, you're blessed, and you don't even know it. There are people, young children, who would give their arm to be loved like that in this world. So look at it like that. I hope this message has helped someone. I hope it's blessed someone. I hope it's encouraged somebody to go out and talk about our Father. And don't worry about all the arrows, because they're going to come. Just know that He will protect us, and that He will give us stability, He will give us strength, and He will help us through anything. Thank you.